Hello, my friends.
Hello, Martin. Good morning.
Good morning from Texas.
Yes, it's a beautiful, bright, and sunny day here.
That's awesome. We actually have a beautiful, bright, sunny day here in Canada, in Toronto. It's supposed to be cold and miserable and wet now around this time of year, but it's like 20 degrees. So what, 79, 80? So,
Yeah, it'll probably be about 80 today.
yeah, nice. So how are you doing?
Well, I'm feeling a little nervous.
Are
My heart rate
you?
is slightly elevated. I think I'm up at about 90 right now.
For show of hands, those of you who are in the chat who have been on core conversations who felt nervous when you opened up in the conversation, just put your hand up first. It's so chill. I'm just gonna ask you to say your name and your business, and we'll just go wherever the conversation takes us.
I'll be fine in just a minute. I maybe my nervousness is more excitement, right?
Yes?
Because I watch a lot of your podcasts and you have some really amazing guests. So I feel honored and excited, and I'm really grateful to share the time with you today.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think that do you feel like I'm amongst the fold, like I've been on here, like I'm in this group of people that have been on there sort of thing? Or do you feel like all these big names are on here, so why would he ask me?
No,
Okay,
I feel like I'm very much welcomed.
good,
You have all kinds of different people, from famous
nice.
people to people I've never heard of or seen before. And everybody's just so interesting, and you have such a talent for engaging people, I must say. So that was kind of what prompted me to become a part of
Okay.
it.
Well, that brings me joy, and that also like gives me relief because I hate it when people are like, "I'm not worthy." I'm like, "Yes, you are." Like, as
Oh,
you
I
can
think we're
see,
also worthy, right?
thank you, absolutely. And as Wellness with Mocha says, get over yourself because you're amazing.
Oh,
So,
hi, Mocha. Mocha is my friend and colleague, and she actually trained me in a technique called the Rossiter stretching.
okay,
She lives in Abilene, Texas. She recently moved there, and I know she's looking for a place to teach Pilates and offer Rossiter. So if we have anybody on from Abilene, connect with Wellness with Mocha.
very cool. I only know of Abilene because that was one of the schools that sent me an invite for to play at their university when I was in high school. So I was like, oh, I had to look that up. So pretty cool. Neat area. So can you tell me what the stretching thing? Like, I haven't
Yeah,
even heard
well,
of it
let
before.
me let me
I'm so
introduce
fascinated.
myself. We kind
Sure,
of
do it.
skipped over that part. So
Right?
I'm
Okay.
Tricia Whitlock, and I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas, in a suburb that's kind of in between Dallas and Fort Worth. And I'm in my seventh year, actually eighth year now. I just celebrated a 7-year anniversary owning a boutique studio called Soul Body Works.
Nice.
And the studio has gone through many different changes through the years. At one point, I offered different types of fitness, yoga and Zumba and Pilates. And then, under the guidance of my mentor, Chantil Lopez, who's out in California, I decided
Yes.
to really focus on Pilates because it definitely lit a fire in my soul. And so I do exclusively Pilates now, and we'll talk about maybe the Rossiter stretching in a bit. I don't want to
Sure,
get
sure.
too derailed. I tend to go down rabbit holes rather easily, so feel free to
So do I.
redirect me. That's the
Yes.
fun part of conversations, right?
Right? Yes.
Um, so I also am the founder of a startup. It's called Traveling Pilates Instructors, which is the account that
Hmm.
I'm joining from today. And the idea of this startup was born several years ago. I want to say 2017 or 18, when I really wanted to take a vacation. As a business owner, I think probably a lot of us can relate to the fact that we are in many ways tied to our businesses.
Yes.
24/7, we're responsible. We're the ones that really put our heart and soul into it, but we got to fill our own cup,
Some would say
right?
shackled. Yes.
I try not to use that word. It just feels so constricting. But
Yes.
anyway, I really needed to take a vacation, and so one of my other mentors, I have a few of them,
Good.
and the lady that I did a bridge program with, her name is Mary Peacock. She's in
Hmm.
St. Louis. Are you familiar with Mary?
No, I'm writing her down so I can chase her down.
She
Okay.
was trained by Ramana. She's been in the business for over 20 years. She's also good friends with Chris Robinson,
Okay, cool.
which we talked about him earlier.
Hmm.
Anyway, so Mary came to Texas and managed my studio for a month while I took a vacation.
Oh, wow.
And
There you
because
go.
she was a studio owner, she knew how to do all the behind the scenes tasks and knew about just the small details and the unexpected things that can come up when running a studio. And I thought to
Yes.
myself, wouldn't it be nice if we had a network of people that could do that for each other?
Hmm.
And that was
Yes.
kind of how traveling Pilates instructors, the idea for it was born.
Okay. So when you say traveling Pilates instructors, I think of like those like energy to go and like where you could like you go and you teach like Pilates in Cuba and come back, but that's not what you're talking about.
Well, that can be part of it. I think it's multifaceted.
Okay.
It can be a relationship like the one I just mentioned. It can be a studio that is just needing an instructor to come in because they have ebb and flows in their attendance. Like a lot of studios, mine included, are seasonal.
Right. Yeah.
And even more so for places in like resort destinations or in Florida or California, Florida especially because of the snowbirds that come down there during the wintertime.
Right.
So, you know, we struggle, I think, as studio owners to account for that, right? You have to have enough staff to cover it during the high time, but then during the low time, that staff is still expecting work. So how do you balance that need?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
oftentimes it results in the studio owner being understaffed and burning out because they're having to pick up all the extra hours themselves.
Right.
So this is an opportunity for teachers who primarily want to live the traveling lifestyle where they want to see the world but still offer their teaching skills to go to places that they normally wouldn't go for a short time and offer that
Hmm.
temporary or seasonal help to a studio that's in that position.
So it's somewhere between like a staffing agency and a travel agency.
Yeah, it's more like a match.com, I would say, because I'm not a broker, I'm not a
Right.
moderator. You just
Okay.
post your profile, contact information. People can meet, you know, them on their own terms and discuss things. I'm not going to be in the middle telling you how to do it because there's too many nuances.
Yes. Nice. That's cool. So let's and I keep trying to wrap it around what I know out there. So like Match.com or like all these different things. So if I was to bump into you on the street and someone asked you what you do with this travel thing, what would be your elevator pitch on it?
Well, my little mission statement is we connect boutique studio, Pilates studio owners and instructors from around the world with traveling and teaching opportunities.
Very cool. That's clever. I really like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, but this is the thing about like ideas. Like I could talk business all day because I like hearing people's ideas and what they see and all those things. The coolest ideas are ones that are right in front of you. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm sure anyone could be like, I never like that's so clever. Like, why hasn't anyone done that already? Right? Like, and I think that that's really cool what you're doing.
Thank you. I've actually been hearing that from a lot of people. That's such a great concept. That's such a great idea.
Yes.
And then they're
Yes.
offering some suggestions from their own points of view, which at this stage in the game, since I'm a startup, those are invaluable to me. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah. The Nietzsche's comment. I love this. So interesting and exciting. Wellness with Mocha. I love it. So, okay, so how long, so you've been running it for a while now. Like, have you connected with, has it got to a point where you have like total strangers that are connecting and then using it, or are you still working within your network as it grows at this point?
a little bit of both.
Okay.
So we have a Facebook group, and that's how it started. I opened up the Facebook group back in, it was either late 2017 or 2018, just as kind of I had no idea where it would go, and we've got 3,700 members in the group now.
What?
Yeah, and most of them are legit people who are looking for traveling and teaching opportunities, but obviously with COVID, that's been a little bit suppressed.
You're right.
Um, but we're of course we're all hopeful that that's going to change as the world starts opening back up. So then
Yes.
I built the website along with my good friend and marketing genius Stephanie Vanderbeck, who's I believe watching our live today.
Okay. Hi, Stephanie.
And that was back in March or April of this past year that we built the website and started offering the membership so that it was not limited to just the Facebook audience.
Yes. Yeah. I've found, Trisha, with my business that as I've made some pivots and like I both core conversations and the studio that you see behind me, which has just moved in the last little bit, are like COVID babies. They both started like last year. And as much as I want them to just kind of launch off into outer space, this suppressed time of growing is almost like a blessing because I'm able to build a better foundation before it grows up without that pressure of it like having to be big and fast. It's like, okay, well, since we can't do anything, why don't I make the infrastructure a little bit better? Why don't I make the
Hmm.
foundation a little bit more? Why don't I stamp that down 10 more times to make sure that the foundation is really, really solid before I grow up?
For sure. In some ways,
Yeah.
it's been hard because we're so used to the go, 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 and build, 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 and grow, grow, grow. And I think many people had to take a step back, just like you pointed out, and use
Mhm.
that time. Hopefully, they use that time to build the stronger foundation through journaling and reading. And I know some people who've gotten into gardening. Um,
Yes.
it's been a challenging time, but
Mhm.
also a really wonderful, beautiful time for growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like I spend a lot of time talking about representation and all the things that we've seen happening in our Pilates space. I feel like this last year has been a time for me to make up ground as well, right? Like where I see
Hmm.
that a lot of people started to sit back and reflect and plan. I'm like, okay, well, now's a chance to like go through some of these doors that are starting to open. Now's the time to gain some ground and open a studio and just make connections and build and all those things. So people have been using the time differently, and it's been, yeah, it's been, in some ways it's been tragic, but in some ways it's been very positive, right? Like you can see what's happening with 3,700 people on your Facebook group and be able to use that to move to the next step and the next step. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm curious
What
about what pillars you found you could build upon or make stronger in your own business.
um well, there's the two that come to mind right away is I look at things in terms of like a global connection and a hyper local connection. So I love my community stuff, like teaching a class at a group, community center, but at the same time being able to talk to someone in Dallas, Texas, right? Like in Bali and wherever. So I've been just using this time to network and to, learn from other people and teach online classes and then speak at conferences that I wouldn't be able to travel to and stuff like that, right? Like there's things that I really love to do in my Pilates work, and that's like public speaking and like serving the community and all these different things. So I've been taking advantage of this time where I don't have to work client after client after client. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to be bell to bell with clients because there's so many other things going on that I can spend some more time working like on the stuff in my business instead of just working in my business head down like all day long. You know what I mean?
Sounds like
So
it really fills your heart to do those things.
I think that's a bit. Yes. Like Pilates, treehouse, and gardening, apparently. That's
Yes, that's my friend Joe from Houston.
nice. Nice. Well, I like to ask that too. Like, what kind of things do you like to do besides Pilates? Like, if like you have time off and you get some actual downtime, what kind of other stuff would you do?
Oh my gosh. Um, Whew. Well, I like to journal.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, I had taken a little trip and I hid my journal as I am apt to do when I travel. And sometimes I forget to take it back out. So I'm glad you mentioned that this morning. I need to take it back out because I do love
Right.
to journal, whether it be one line or whether it be 10 pages. It's like I think you commented that it helps to get that clutter out of the head and solidify it on paper. And then you can see, oh, was that just some anxiety junk or is that something really valid that I need to explore?
Hmm.
Um, so I like to do that. I would like to be a gardener, but I am not. Although I do grow mushrooms and not the magic ones, like
Okay.
lion's
Yeah.
mane and pink oyster, things that you could actually like fry up and put with some fish or some salad.
Okay.
I have an Australian Shepherd who is nuzzling me right now. So
Nice.
I'm a dog owner, a dog lover. And I also like to do art, and I have been really drawn to doing the dot art, like on
Yes.
rocks and things like that. Are you familiar with that type of work?
I think so. Yeah, I'm not the artsy guy, but I think I know
Let
what
me
you're
show
talking
you.
about. Sure. Show and tell, party
It's
people.
show and tell time. This is my apothecary cabinet. This is another thing I do. So back here I have all my oils and my herbs stored, and I like to make soaps and other
Okay.
types of concoctions.
Wow.
But here's my rock art.
Oh, that's so cool.
Woo!
Ooh. That is, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I have a lot of things that fill my cup so that when I come to the studio, I can fill others' cups.
That is incredibly healthy. There's so many people that can't answer that question.
Oh, I have more things I could tell you, but
Yes, Fit Club Pilates. I make soap, so fun hobby. Too
it is
fun
a
hobby.
fun hobby. Yeah.
Nice. And actually, an Ali Green, Solo Movement Ali Green said, "I'd love to hear other travel stories. Where have people gone?" And I was going to ask you too, like if anyone has any questions in the comment section, like please like throw them out. I'd love to hear more and what you want to hear about like this whole clever business. So yeah, travel stories.
Well, I can tell some, unless you have one
Sure.
first, Martin. Do you have a
No,
travel story?
please do. Go for it.
So, actually, one of my colleagues and a lady who is a member of the Traveling Pilates Instructor site reached out to me yesterday or day before, and she lives in Dallas, not too far from here, and she does Spartan races. And
Okay.
she also owns a studio, but she loves to travel. She does all kinds of cool stuff. Every time I see her, her name is Donna Fisher. I don't know if
Okay.
she's watching today or not. But anyway, she messaged me and she said, "Hey, do you know of any studios in Abu Dhabi who are looking for a temporary instructor on these dates?" And I'm
Oh,
like,
cool.
well, not off the top of my head, but let me go through my contacts in the studios that are members of the site. Let me reach out to them. And so it looks like we've got two options for her. She's going for the World Championship Spartan race at the end of November to Abu Dhabi and wants to just pop into a studio and do a little bit of teaching while she's there.
Wow.
So
So cool.
yeah, so I facilitated that connection, and it's super exciting to see that happen. Um,
Yes.
Other travel stories. Let's see. Another colleague of mine, her name is Mara, and she owned a studio in New Hampshire, which she sold about 2 years ago because she realized she wanted to have a little more freedom in her life. So she bought
Mhm.
herself an RV and she travels around the country, and she will pop in at studios to do workshops and presentations. So she just joined the site.
Nice.
So we're looking
Yeah.
to connect her with some studios that are looking for that type of experienced person to come in and work probably with their instructors more than anything else.
Right. Yeah. That's so cool. I would love to do that sort of thing. I think like at some point with all of these connections I've made through core conversations, I'd love to do a physical visit with every one of my guests.
Yeah.
That's like probably close to 400 different locations.
Wouldn't that, now that would be a year-long journey, right?
It might be like a 5 year long journey. Yes.
It could be your
Yes.
life. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. That, yeah, like Ali's like, that is so cool. Like that is so cool. Now, is there like a monetary component to this, like at all? Is it just like a connection, or is there some kind of like um referral fee or something that you get in the middle of this at the same time, or is it just like strictly just a matching thing?
There is a small membership fee on the site, which is
Okay, cool.
basically to pay for, me going in and doing the back end maintenance and paying for the
Yeah,
website and all that stuff. But it's not super expensive, because I know how it is to be a Pilates teacher and a Pilates studio owner, especially recently. So I wanted to
yes,
make it really affordable so instructors can join on a monthly basis, because who knows, maybe you just want to find something and after that you're not interested anymore, so you could sign up for
yes,
$1.99 for a month, or you can
that's
pay
it.
20 bucks for a year. That's it. That's right now, as the business grows and maybe we
Right,
add some additional services in there, things might change. So now's the
right.
time. Now's the time
So
to
if you
jump in
act
and,
now,
act
yes,
now. That's right.
yeah, yes.
And then
Do we
if
get a
you're a
free rock with our
studio,
membership too, or
pardon me?
do we get a free rock with our membership too, or
No.
no? Go on.
These actually take a little bit of time and effort. So,
Mm,
and then studios can join for $50 a year.
okay.
And not only can they offer their seasonal and temporary opportunities, but they can also post all of their retreats, workshops, and teacher trainings.
Oh,
And
nice.
this gets me into kind of the secondary vision or mission
Hmm.
of traveling Pilates instructors, which I'm still kind of building upon. But as far as I know, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there is not one place where studios can go and advertise all of those things, workshops, retreats,
Right.
trainings. There is not
Right.
one
Yeah.
central
Not one
hub,
central spot. Right. Exactly.
right? I want to
Yep.
be that.
Let's go.
Let's go, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, classical, contemporary, or whatever
Hmm.
you want to call it. Just all of it. Let's be a Pilates, be under the Pilates umbrella and work together
Right.
and learn from each other.
That's fantastic. I think that that's organically, orally what we're doing here, right? Like if you have any things, like if you have workshops, whatever it is, but that's still not accessible to everyone, everybody, right? Like this is just because these are the accessible to people on Instagram, but
Right?
that's not the whole world, right? There's a world outside of this digital world. So how do we do that? How do you let everyone know and kind of train people to look there to find out what's happening next? Because I love that. It's a great idea.
Well, I think that's going to take some time, and I'm still trying to flesh out that whole idea and figure out how to reach studios that are not engaging with social media, which is definitely a thing, and
It's a
that's
thing. Yeah,
okay. But
absolutely.
I still want, I want them to be reachable. So if everybody is subscribed to my website, then we send out email blasts. So you don't necessarily have to be on social media as long as you have an email address. You can get notifications of all those things that are coming up.
Right. Yeah. You almost have to do like the whole circuit tour of every conference and have your booth and get people to sign up and like that sort of thing too, right? Like you probably have to do
Ooh,
like
that's a good idea.
campaigning for it, right?
Let
Well,
me
yeah,
write
because
that
I mean,
down.
like, because that's really what's gonna happen. Like the lady on yesterday was like, you know, she was saying that was it the Asian Pilates conference or something like that. Like there's yeah. Thanks for putting the website up. That's there's all these different conferences that happen all over the world, whether they're virtual or live. Like it might be taking a year to go to every one of those conferences to gather those email addresses to let people see that you are the hub so they can find out what the next what's happening in the world when they're traveling and blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah, right? Like that's that physical touch excuse to travel, right?
Well, not that I need much of an excuse, but yeah, that sounds exciting, and that's kind of what I've been wanting to do. I've had that vision and that dream for many years of I love to travel. I love to meet new people and to see new things and have new experiences, and so that
Hmm.
fits right in what I want for my personal self. I don't want my professional life and my personal life to be separate. I want to be one unit and one person. And this
Right.
is how I plan to do that for myself as I get older and my husband retires and we start traveling around the world together.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that like for my kids, that's the kind of thing that you want to teach the next generation is like just find something you love to do that pays you well,
Yeah,
that can do all those things, but like don't feel like you have to get into computers because it pays well, or you have to be this because or you have to be in trades because I mean, like do it if you're passionate about it, but like, the old saying, like find a job you love and you don't work a day in your life.
that's right.
I think us in this warm fuzzy Pilates helping people world get it, but we still sometimes there's this incongruence between what we love to do and what we're actually doing. So it sounds like you're finding a way to marry all of those pieces.
I'm certainly trying, and the building process is very fun and exciting. The creative process is also really appealing to me. It doesn't feel like any work, it just feels like a lot of fun. I get up in the
Right.
morning excited to do it.
Nice. Okay, so real talk. Have you had any challenges with this to date? Have you had any big hiccups or things where you're like, okay, maybe we should have done it that way?
There's one, but I don't know that I can talk about it.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a couple. but I'm really lucky in the fact that I have a partner that balances my skills. She is the marketer, and she can focus on the minutia while I tend to focus on the bigger picture. Um, so I'm really grateful to have somebody like that balances me, and we've been able to work through pretty much every obstacle that we've come across, and I have no doubt that it
Amazing.
will continue to be so, just because we're both so strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Can we talk about bricks and mortar for a second?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Um, yeah, because like I mean, a lot of times people come out of a teacher training thing and they're like, I want to run a studio, or like from myself, um, coming out of the personal training world, like people are like, well, when are you going to open a gym? When are you going to open a studio? When are you? And for me, I've always had a consulting base and model for my business. Like personal victory is like I'm going to go into a gym or run a boot camp or go to an office or work with a sports team. I never envisioned having my own space to do it. And yesterday, one of my clients is a mortgage broker, and he said, like, have you ever thought about opening your gym? And I was like, I've been doing this for 20 years. If I was going to open a gym, I probably would have done it by now if that was actually my vision. What made you decide to go from like doing teacher training to actually opening up your own space and going through the business side of managing a space and buying, paper and like all the different nuanced stuff that like you don't think about when you become a teacher?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think my story is actually quite opposite of what you might expect and what most teachers have experienced in their journey. So I came from corporate America. I worked there for 17 years.
Hmm.
Um, and then the death of my mother in 2011 really changed the way I thought about pretty much everything in my life.
Yeah, of course.
And I had known I wasn't happy, but uh, I just, I don't know, I had kind of accepted my lot in life. I was taught, go to college, get a job, work hard,
Yes.
retire, and die. Woohoo!
Right. Here's your watch. Yes. Right.
Pretty much.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
so I don't know if you've had the death of a parent or somebody you're really close to, but it definitely is
Yeah.
a life-changing experience. Caused me to take a really hard look at what I was doing and
Mm.
my own limited time. So I left that job and I took a sabbatical with the support of my wonderful husband.
Amazing.
And then I'd started to kind of see everything a little bit brighter, a little bit bigger, and came out of my cloud where I had really lost faith in humanity. I worked in the insurance business, which is a really difficult business to work in. And I
Yes.
found myself being a bit mean and unhappy. Well, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Just not liking
I
yourself
didn't,
at work, right?
I
Like that's,
definitely didn't like what I was doing.
yeah.
So I started to get fitness certifications at that point.
Hmm.
And I taught seniors. I did silver sneakers, and then I taught Zumba and yoga. And then I decided, well, I really want to be a business owner. I want to feel, see what that's like. So I explored
Yes.
some different options for opening a gym for those purposes that I was
Hmm.
teaching. And I happened across a Pilates studio for sale.
Okay. Huh.
And the owner was, it had gone down to next to nothing, even though she still had a mailing list, because she had also had a pivot in her own personal life. And I thought, and the way the studio was set up, there was a Pilates area and then there was a group exercise area. So I thought, well, I can just buy this studio and I can run my stuff in one area, and the Pilates business can run it. Well, I mean, obviously I would run it, but it came with
Yes.
a staff of like 4 teachers. So I
Okay.
can just
Yeah.
I can just manage the business. And so that's what I did.
Hmm.
And then I fell in love with Pilates and got certified, of course.
Nice.
So
Yes.
it was the opposite take for
Yeah.
me.
Right. But that's interesting and it's fascinating because like I think that that's the way the rest of the world works, right? Like from a business perspective, you look at a business, you look at an opportunity, you look at you balance it out and say, okay, I'll manage it. I'll find people, I'll staff to my weaknesses, and I'll make it happen. But then in the Pilates world, we say, I'm going to take this teacher training, I'm going to buy some equipment, I'm going to rent a space and go.
Mm-hmm.
It works, and sometimes it doesn't work. But like,
True.
there's no real like the rest of the business world analyzes things a lot more before they jump into it.
For sure. And I think a lot of teachers have absolutely no idea what they're getting themselves into. They just are full of heart and soul and passion, and they don't see the pitfalls that are coming. And there are many.
Yes, many. Let's leave that word many out there. Just
Just
to, let's
right
let it just
there.
like many. Thank you. Many. Let's just say it one more time for everyone out there, because in Scoop Flies and PT, I think this question is for me. Out of curiosity, why haven't you wanted to own your own spot? Definitely pros and cons to it. Um, that many. I think I understood that like what I am wired to do and what I'm passionate about doing. Administratively, that's not my area of passion. Um, just like I don't know, there's a lot. I'm not afraid to work hard, but at the same time I want to work hard in areas that I'm passionate about. So if I love teaching, if I like the idea of teaching teachers, I want to set myself up. I love speaking, those sort of things. I want to be able to pick up and leave and not feel like I have to keep the lights on somewhere back home. I want to be free to be able to do those things. So having a consulting based model meant that I could dive fully into doing something. And I also love coming alongside other people with their vision, right? So that's the other thing too. Like I'm not the type of person who can't work for somebody else. Like I can gladly work for somebody else and help you build your vision and still have that freedom to do what I want to do. So for those reasons, I felt like the times I've worked with people, even the guy that I'm working with here with High Octane, he has a great vision, a great passion for community, and we work well together. So I don't feel like I need to hang my own shingle for the pride of saying I own my own place. That's not
Mm,
important to me, right?
hmm.
So I'd rather come alongside someone else in their vision, do their thing, and then be free to do me the way I want to do it. So that's always been my reason for not having going bricks and mortar.
Seems to
So
me, Martin, that you're a collaborator.
absolutely. Yeah. A collaborator that realizes based on my journaling from the last week that now is a season where I need to start to call in favors. And what I mean by that is over the last 20 years in this industry, coming alongside people and helping people and doing things, there's times when you have your vision, when you realize that you need help and you actually have to call in some of those favors, hey, I'd love your support as I'm going to this project, or hey,
Mm,
whatever, where I haven't had to do that, or I've had like a really close knit group of people that would help me with things, but then actually going out to the broader community and saying, I need your help. Can you help me with this?
wow.
I feel like there's a season I'm coming into where I'm going to have to start calling in some of those favors of the things I've invested with people over the last 20 years in the game.
That's like really big for me to hear that right now because maybe that's a
Mm,
piece I'm missing too.
mm,
Wow.
yeah, that's been my journal reflection all week. Is just like reach out to those people and say hi and say this is what I'm doing next. I'd love your help in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, so there you go. Just let that linger as well. Just
That's okay. We can have a little bit of silence. Silence is okay.
silence is okay.
Right? If we
Yeah,
were sitting together having coffee, we might just have that moment where we go,
yeah.
take a couple of breaths.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, your vision is fantastic. And like we were saying, like the next part of your vision as well, that is that's legit where you need to just call in those favors and ask for the help. This is what I'm doing and this is where I'm going. I'd love for you to introduce me to someone who is doing this conference in Germany. How can I meet them
Mm.
and get them in? Like that sort of thing, right? Like that's the calling in favor piece that I need to do more of that myself, right?
Wow. You're inspiring me right now.
You have a great vision. Go
Thank
run
you.
with it. Yeah.
Just the thought of going
Reading.
to those conferences and being invited to those places, and I mean that's just filling me up. That's what I want.
Yes. Everybody, as you're listening to us, that is the question I ask you all the time. What makes you come alive?
Yes.
Right? Like we
What
could be talking
sparkles
about,
you up?
yes, exactly, exactly. Some of you that sparkle thing. I don't do the sparkle thing, but like yes, but
Oh, come
makes you
on.
sparkle? Nah, I'm not a sparkle guy. But that's the whole thing, right? Like what makes you come alive? Like if we were here talking about corrective exercise and we were saying, okay, well let's help this person with their gait, you could be like, meh. It's good, it's important, but like, and that's fine. Where someone else would be like, yes, and then their foot, and this is where we need to focus on their toe doing this, and like everyone's different, right? So
Right.
love that. I'm so excited for you. I definitely want to just see how this goes. I like it because that's I think that from a consulting perspective of what I do, that's exactly it. Is to be like, okay, I'm going to be here. I go into Montreal. Let me do a session there, and let me do my core conversations live with Dennis in Montreal, and have him do a workout. Like I did that last year. I was like, I could totally do this every month. Like,
Well,
you
Martin,
know.
I would love to feature your profile on my site.
Absolutely. I'm going there right after this,
Awesome.
actually. Let me just read a couple of these comments here. So, Fit Club, helping someone and seeing their body change makes me smile. Nice. Steph's comment here, being behind the scenes sparkles me, marketing and promoting others. Yes. Yes, exactly. Like when you know that you were a part of making someone else sparkle, that fills someone's cup, and they don't necessarily need to be in front. They don't need to be rich and famous. They need to just be making sure that other person is shining where they're supposed to be shining, right? Like, love that.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, that is 10:56. That is so crazy. There you go. So for you, Tricia, thinking how we're gonna fill an hour.
Well, you spent the first 20, 25 minutes talking and working through technical difficulties. So I'm good. We're at about 30 minutes.
That's
So it
true.
makes me happy.
That is a good point. I totally forgot about that. Yes. But yes, I'm just reading the last comments. The traveling core conversations, no doubt.
Hey, there we
I
go. Thank you,
know.
Ellie Green. I love that idea. Martin,
We gotta,
sounds like we need to have some offline conversations.
right? This is the first of many conversations.
I hope so.
Yes. Well, yes. Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate the chat. I just love hearing people's stories and hearing your vision. I didn't know that it's going to go this way in terms of just talking your vision through this, and it's
I
so
didn't
cool.
either.
Yeah. So excited for you.
Well,
So
thank
excited
you
for you.
for letting me monopolize the time.
No, I just, do you feel like it kind of concretes what you already felt good about in a sense?
Yeah, it really does. It felt good to talk about it in this way. I've got lots of ideas on paper, lots in the website. So having the opportunity to verbalize it to your audience has been just wonderful for me.
Yes, thank you. And it's our audience. That's
Our
the
audience.
best part of it. Yes. Oh, yes. We didn't even talk about Rossiter. Is that how
Oh,
you say it?
okay. Well, we got to discuss Rossiter. Okay,
Yes.
so and I'll be curious to know, first of all, how, let me tell everybody how I came to the point where I wanted to learn Rossiter. So I found that a lot of people would come in to my studio and say, well, I'm struggling with neck pain, shoulder pain, low back pain. Three
Okay.
big top three.
Sure.
Anybody else have the experience of those being the most common complaints when people come in for their Pilates session? Yeah.
Right.
And when it comes down to it, when we stay within our scope of practice, our Pilates is exercise. It's functional movement. It's not
Mm,
me giving you exercises that are going to fix your problem. And I was real clear about that. But there was a part of me that was really dissatisfied with not being able to offer a solution.
yes. Fair.
And
Yeah.
so fair, right? So I said, well, I know
Hmm.
there's a lot of other techniques out there, and massage therapy, of course, is the one that comes to mind first. But I was really clear about the fact that I did not want to be a massage therapist. So I went and researched different modalities from Feldenkrais to the Melt method. I think there's one called NSK. I can't remember. It's been some years. Rolfing. So I went and
Yes.
experienced these modalities myself. I booked sessions with practitioners to see how it felt for me.
Hmm.
And Rossiter was on that list. And the very first time I got stepped on, which I'll explain that in a moment, I said, this is it. This is it for
Okay.
me. So, and Joe can correct me if I'm wrong. Rossiter stretching is a two-person myofascial stretching technique
Okay.
whereby the coach, which is me, places their foot on the person in charge, called the pick, in a strategic point that is designed to create space and release bindings in fascial tissue.
Okay. Wow. So, see, Fit Club Pilates there, Lisa is a massage therapist and with different modalities as well. Is it similar to like a Thai massage in terms of its modality?
I think Thai massage, in my own experience, and I've only
Yeah.
had Thai massage from two people, was a little bit more passive
Mm,
on the part of the person receiving the treatment.
okay.
And this is much more participatory on the part of the person receiving the treatment. It is very much dependent on their ability to be in their body and to actively work the stretch that we ask them to do. Right, the movement, Joe is saying the movement of the person, the pick, is actually what
Yes.
does the release. It's like a pin and stretch.
Yes.
So
Okay. Makes sense.
we look for a tender spot, and then it's really up to you, Martin, if I was to be coaching you, to work the
Mm,
stretch. And they do call it a Rossiter workout because you will get tired doing it,
I can
which is
imagine.
also
Yeah.
an added bonus.
Great.
So it's
I
something that I've
feel,
been able to offer to my students and to give many of them relief from those things rather quickly. So it's pretty an amazing technique, in my opinion.
I'm gonna look into that. It
Stretch
sounds interesting.
exercise therapy. Thank you, Joe, for all your corrections. I still stumble a little bit when I talk about
Yeah.
Rossiter.
No, that's great. So there's like, okay, so just to release this. So yes, some Thai is passive, but I have clients who participate like pin and stretch during compressions. I've thought about this too. Yeah. Wow. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that as well. If there's anyone who does that, that's in this, that we know, please send me their information afterwards too. I'd love to have them on and just talk about it. Just that, much like when
Um,
Lisa
I
was on.
think I think Joe, Pilates Treehouse would be a
Yep.
really good contact for you. She's down in Houston, and she's actually the lady that taught me my level one
Very cool.
Rossiter, and she's pretty amazing. Yeah, she can tell you all about it.
Good. I've already invited her to be on Core Conversations, so we'll get her on. Um,
Yes, see, there she is. She's commenting. There is no therapeutic movement of our foot in rest. I'm not 100% sure I understand what you mean.
yeah,
I think I get the
I think I
gist of it,
follow
but
it. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Nice. Okay, yeah, I'll look into it. 'Cause that's it. Like, I mean, like they're all part of the broader fitness conversation when it comes down to it. Like when we personally like to silo Pilates, kettlebells, T-Rex, bodybuilding, whatever it is. But then all these things are movement, all these things are wellness, all these things are fitness. So like when we can find the pieces within the toolbox that work best for us and be able to present that to our clients, that's when we're moving ahead, right? So I love that. I'll totally look into that.
Yeah, there are a lot of Pilates teachers that are also Rossiter coaches.
Yeah.
It's a very, very complementary practices, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. All right, I got lots of homework. Thank you so much. And yeah, so we'll get Applies Treehouse. I'd love to have you on, and we'll dive deep on that and learn more about it. And I'm just reading Virgil's comments here. Flowboy 3485. I currently use Thai yoga massage in correlation with my client workouts, and it has been a wonderful addition to their results. Indeed, diverse toolbox is best. Nice. Okay, cool. Well, maybe Fit Club Pilates and Pilates Treehouse should have a chat and just like collaborate because I think both of
For
them are
sure.
great. Some of them are very knowledgeable in my Pilates Plus world, as I say. Like there's so many other things that we do, right? So
Right.
nice. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been
Thank you, Martin.
so rich, to say the least, this
I
conversation.
appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Take
Talk to
care.
you soon.
Okay, bye.